Now we're going to talk about a play we're going to use very sporadically, and that's the check raise bluff on the turn. Your bluff raise is going to look just like your raises when you have the nuts. To effectively bluff the turn using the check raise, you'll need to have a very good read on your opponent. If you just sat down at a table and have no information on your opponents, you simply shouldn't bother with this play. Once you've had a chance to map out the table, though, and know who the rocks are, you spot the bluffers and the weak players, then you can use your reading skills to take some pots away from your opponents with absolutely nothing. Let's look at an example. With blinds at 50 and 100, an aggressive player raises from late position at 300. You're the only caller from the big blind with queen jack. The flop comes 9-6-4. You check and your opponent checks also. The turn brings the ace of diamonds and you check again. Now your opponent bets out 350. Now based on your read of this particular opponent, if he had ace high on the flop, he would have bet to protect his hand. You also pick up a tell based on his bet size and the way that he bet his chips that he doesn't have the ace at all. Your hand is irrelevant in this situation. After his 350 bet, there's 1,000 in the pot. By making it 1,000 to go, you're essentially making an even money bet that your information was accurate. A $1,000 raise to win a $1,000 pot. There is no flush draw present, and if he has a straight draw on the flop, your read tells you that he would probably have bet on the flop. Your check raise here should win you the pot more than half the time, and that's all you need to make it a profitable play. Sometimes you'll be wrong and you'll have the ace, and sometimes he may even bluff you back thinking you don't have the ace. Or maybe he flopped a set and was setting a trap. All of which are possible, but the good news is that the play didn't cost you very much, and even when you get caught, you can use that play to enhance your table image later on in the game when you do check raise with the nuts. The key to check raising the turn for profit is understanding your opponent's betting patterns and also playing your hand in such a way that your opponents will believe your lie. Let's look at another example. With blinds at 100-200, a tight player raises in first position to 600, and you call from the big blind with 9-7 of hearts. Both you and your opponent have over 15,000 in chips. The flop completely misses you, jack 3-4. But your opponent also checks behind you, leading you to believe that he either has flopped a set of jacks or has ace-king. Since there were two clubs on the flop, though, you lean more towards your opponent having ace-king. Now the turn card brings the 5 of diamonds. You could take a stab at the pot right here, or you could see what develops if you check. If your opponent bets, say, 1,000 on the turn, he may be thinking that his ace-king high is still good and doesn't want a free card to come off. After his bet, there is now 2,300 in the pot. With a 3-4-5 on board, there are a lot of hands you could represent here. Ace-deuce, 6-7, pocket fives, 4-5, etc. Or a hand as simple as jack-10. To steal this pot, all you need to invest is somewhere in the neighborhood of 2,500. 25 to win 2,400 in a spot where it doesn't look like your opponent has much of a hand, and at the same time, the board looks like a board that could easily hit your blind hand. The fact that you actually have just 9 high and a gut shot straight draw is irrelevant, since you know that your opponent is unlikely to call a check raise with a hand like ace high. Contrary to popular belief, poker isn't all about bluffing, and elaborate yet risky all-in bluffs aren't the way to consistently win on the poker circuit. When they work, you may look like a Mozart, but more often than not, you'll end up looking foolish. Bluffing is like an art form. In a sense, it's believable storytelling that doesn't require bets that are out of character for you. In fact, when you make outlandish bets that don't seem to fit in with your playing style, alarm bells will go off in your opponent's head, thinking that you're more likely to be bluffing. When bluffing is effortless, you know you're doing it right.